Alrighty, so this is just We the People News. Okay, at it again, y'all. Not attorney, not giving legal advice. Educational purposes only. Anything I say or do is just my opinion, my research, not y'all's. Okay. Never just look straight forward. Always look around you. Be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. All right. Use the Second Amendment. Arm yourself with knowledge. Now, there's going to be a couple part videos, and this is power inherent in the people. Okay, so go check him out to get more details because this video is 2.5 hours long, and I'm just getting bits and pieces out of it to get your train of thought out of that imprisonment and kind of circumvert around. Now, what he is talking about here is in common law. Okay, the true law of the land. And we got it. The process is pretty much the same. It's just the wordage, right? We don't speak attorneys. We don't speak lawyer talk, right? Jesus kind of warned us about these attorneys using word magic to trick you into believing something that's true when it's actually misleading and false. Okay, and and you're being in that courtroom misunderstood because we have forgotten how to be men and women and speak men and women language. Okay, uh, the good book says that he created men after his image. Government created person as a fiction to enslave you. Okay, and put you under bondage. Why they even come up with the 13th Amendment when they automatically slaved you anyway? Who knew? All right. So let's get a little idea of what's going on, even what the courts have said.
There we go. All right, and I'm going to keep it in this mode because if I put it in actual presentation mode, it blanks out my Zoom. So, okay.
A step further, y'all. I've said it before, but there's a couple of new people here, right? Only men and women can sue men and women. Only persons can sue another person. So, to actually stand in honor, you make a claim as a man to, let's just say, the Walmart owners, the CEOs of Walmart, but it has to be the man. And you got to call them out and say the man acting as the CEO of Walmart. Okay? Um, when you do these things, you're calling out both, right? You're pulling them out of that person jurisdiction of that fiction, right? The good book says, shall not have a graven image. Okay? Well, look on your ID. Okay? It's got diesel on there. All right, graven image. It's got address. Well, my domicile or my what is the other word? I can't believe it just blanked out. Dominion, my property, my dominion, uh, has a particular address, a graven image. Okay, a zip code. Well, it's geographic of where my dominion is, property, right? Well, it's a graven image of my said property, right? It's got a picture lie, right? Well, that's a graven image. So they created another you in this fictional world while you are trying to operate in a man and woman world. When an officer says, is this you on the ID? Well, yes, it is. Well, it can't be you because you are standing there in flesh and blood. See the word magics they're playing? Let's go.
Check it and check it. I got questions later. We'll just kind of fill them in as they fill in. People, I've actually unmuted y'all. I'm gonna be lenient today and allow y'all to unmute yourselves, but please don't run over each other, or I just have to close it back down. If you have some questions, maybe raise your hand and speak or something. I'm gonna go pee real quick, but go on.
Yeah, and Robert's Rules of Order say, "May I speak?" and that way, and then yield afterwards. It'll just make it easier. So not to give instructions, but just to help everybody out when you yield, then somebody else will know that they can ask a question. So ask for the floor and then yield. So, title. The radical meaning of this word to be that of a mark, style, or appellation. And everybody can see that on the screen.
Yes.
And if you need time to write that down, I'll give it a little bit here and let me know if everybody's good, and I'll move on.
If everyone checks the group chat, I took a screenshot of it and posted in the chat so we can.
Awesome. Okay, so then I'll go to the next one.
Hey, Kevin.
Yo.
Would you be willing to share these slides?
Oh, absolutely. This one happens to be out of claiming status and revoking taxes. It's a very detailed one. It references West Virginia code, but you can pull out the West Virginia code portions and plop in the code for your state. It's really easy to look up once you figure out how they work. But
that'd be awesome. Yeah, after this, if you send it to Cam and he can distribute or something, that'd be awesome. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, absolutely, Quinn. All right. The mark. Now, I'm going to get a little biblical for you here, guys, so bear with me. And I say that not from the standpoint that I believe in the Old Testament, so just take it for a grain of salt. There's a lot of very good words of wisdom in the Bible, we'll just put it that way. So the mark, taking on a title, and the act of taking on that title is in fact the mark of the beast. In other words, it's a hell of a lot simpler than what everybody thinks. You take on a title, you've marked yourself. You've diminished yourself to a status less than man. And I'm taking this right from the definition, so this is not like a leap of faith or anything. But we never think about it. We all want to blame somebody else for giving us the mark of the beast when we do it ourselves. So the mark being a person as a fictitious entity and as defined as taking on a name, or Shem as defined in the Hebrew translation of the same word. The title is a person, which is in turn a mark. You are a creation of the Creator who creates. You are one of mankind. You are a living soul. You are the seed of consciousness. You are not a title. So if I go back up to title again, notice, thus in the law of persons, this is right from the definition, thus in the law of persons, a title is an appellation of dignity or distinction. Basically, you're reducing yourself. It's a social rank. You're not a man or a woman anymore. That's why if you look at statutory law, anything that is not related to statutes at large, anything after the Civil War, they don't reference mankind in it. Now, you will see it in Supreme Court cases where they're protecting constitutional law, and that's the only place you'll see it is in cases. You won't see it in the statutes. So again, Mark is taking on a title.
Yeah. So, and again, what is that? Right? If they're speaking man, that is common law Supreme Courts, different jurisdiction. Goes back into challenging jurisdiction, and we operate in common law and or administrative, but we don't speak in the common law man-to-man language.
Yeah.
That includes the titles of Sir, Mr., Ma'am.
Absolutely.
Especially those.
Yep, especially.
We all want to be respectful of everybody by what we've been taught as kids and people growing up in this world, and you accept those titles and you've got the mark of the beast.
Bingo. And thank you, Michael. That's exactly correct. And thank you for bringing that up, because Mr. British Merchant Marines, Mr. is a warrant officer in the British Merchant Marines. You do not want to use the title Mr. Sir is a knighthood title from Great Britain. Same thing, nobility. So to Michael's point, thank you very much. Great segue also. Any title, any title. You are a man and your reference is your name. You are not your name either. And I cover that in a lot of my articles on Shire News. But it's painful because you walk through it slowly. I created all these articles because it's such a mind change versus what you think about. And so it took a lot of articles to go through and explain it. But
the other one, Kevin?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've had a video when a man stood in court and kept on recusing judges because they operate in bad faith, trying to drag a man into their statutory family courts. Now, is it easy? Well, none of them are easy, right? You're dealing with criminals, okay? And you're dealing with trickery of words. And some of these lower judges never understood how to speak man because they was never a man or a woman. So how can they know something that, well, same as us? We've never been taught to speak man. Oh, we don't even know how to speak true English. And, you know, the government itself is using fictitious form of entry of other languages in our languages to even confuse us more. And we're already confused enough because we don't even use true English as it is. Right? The Bible is hard to understand because we don't understand how to use syntax or grammar.
Another one is I am a living man on the land and soil.
Yeah,
You
but
should
check
know that
this
from the
out.
Anna Von Rice deep dive. I'm sure you went in.
Yeah,
Check
yeah,
this
so,
one out. Check this
yeah.
one. So, like, when you was talking about the aspect of that you're not even your name, that is so true. Because even like right now, we're going through a paradigm shift of knowing in relation to like, quantum physics and that aspect there of entanglement and particles. And as we're going through this transitional change of knowing, which I just shared recently within the Wisdom, if anybody watched, I don't know if anybody watched it at all, but in that aspect, I'm reaching out to that dude because he's discovered some really amazing things, some fascinating things that are finally coming out. And I think it's because technology is just advancing so quickly that we're going to get to a point to know more about ourselves as we look inside. And as that continues to happen, we start to again really understand the I am, the aspect of the whole, the aspect of this personality that we currently have, and this soul aspect that just embodies all for all is I am. And so when you say
And there we go. I am that I am. When Jesus was getting judged, right? He stood as a man, not as their persons, right?
don't have no names, that's true because we go beyond these titles, and it just fits so perfectly. I just love what you're saying right now. So yeah, continue.
That's perfect. Yep.
I have a
Energy and
question.
vibration.
I have a question for the floor.
Okay, keep it brief though, because he's going through. Actually, right now he's just going to go through his presentation. So continue, please, Clip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mitchell. Just real quick.
Okay. I've always said this. I've always said in the Bible it says, "Stand at the man and not the person," and I'm asking if this is what this is talking about.
Yeah, so there's about 17 different passages that says God has no respect for persons. So that is specifically the case. So if you look here, that's the slide I'm currently on. There are two words for person in Hebrew. One is Nephesh and one is Shem. Now, guess what those two names are? Those are Noah's sons. But those are actually the Hebrew translations. Nephesh is considered the inner person, the breathing creature, per Strong's Concordance, and I gave the page reference there, the index reference. This is the spirit in the flesh. Now, it's not the soul, but it's the spirit in the flesh. The other word is Shem. It's the outer person, the name or face. Strong's Concordance, Shem is the reference to name or face. Now, guess what the definition of Shem is? An appellation as a mark. Exactly like title in Black's Law Dictionary. You think that's a coincidence?
No, I don't.
And I stretch it out to a graven image of you.
So
So, yes, Mitchell, that's what it's referring to.
Cool.
God has no respect for persons. So, pertinent, valuable question based on the topic. Yep, well done. Most people don't get this, and I try to explain it to people, and they kind of look at you blank because it's tough for people to understand when they're living in a world of titles.
And so you figured out a way to completely just rebut all the titles, or just put your command and notice out to where they respect it.
So you're rebutting the title immediately when you say I a man, and then you address them also as a man. So here's the fundamental difference. A lot of people are trying to, quote unquote, stand on their law by going, I'm just a man. But they're skipping the remedy. They're skipping the ability to give them a chance to rebut, and they're skipping calling them out as a man of equal standing. So you are now just as liable, because man has full liability. Man operates under full liability, as you do. So that's why all those other little pieces are missed when you're just sitting there. You say, "I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man." Well, you're still standing out here separately, kind of stomping your feet, and you're not doing the whole thing in honor and giving the accuser, who is also a man or of mankind, the opportunity to rebut. Not the title, but the man.
Okay.
So we'll get into that. When I start sharing some of the notices, you'll kind of see the breakdown. I'll do like a claim of debt notice and then a claim of trespass.
Okay. Okay.
And also, if you know a little bit of the history of the good book, Jesus never argued. He just said what he said, and that was the end. Right? He never argued with anybody.
Cool. To answer that question, then I'll go to one more slide, and then we'll jump off of that. But government is an artificial person. Hopefully, a lot of people have seen this one: Penn Hollow versus Doan's Administrators.
I ain't seen this one.
Inasmuch as every government is an artificial person, an abstraction, and a creature of the mind only, a government can interface only with other artificial persons. The imaginary, having neither actuality nor substance, is foreclosed from creating and attaining parity with the tangible. The legal manifestation of this is that no government, as well as any law, agency, aspect, court, etc., can concern itself with anything other than corporate artificial persons and the contracts between them. So they're telling you they can only interface with fictitious entities. They're telling you that's the case. So every time you go into their courts, guess what? You said, okay, I'll be a fictitious entity because that's all they can interface with. So when you look at Brandon's breakdown of the slaughterhouse cases, he's dead on where it says that a government can create a corporation at any time to interface with. Right. And that gets back to the birth certificate and everything else. So they're telling you. They've already told you, even in all their rulings and in the statutes, that's what they're doing.
That's what I be saying. This right up under our noses all the time.
All right. Well, I didn't mean for it to go out this long. But that being said, y'all, court case right here. Look it up. Read it. The court itself is saying that the courts cannot go after the man. What they're going after is that all caps name, the legal fiction person. And now you are liable for that. And they don't let you know. They're not giving full disclosure, right? Which goes back into, in a lot of ways, identity theft. Right? They took everything that's yours and put it over here to create bonds and money off you and put you in a fictional world. These are We the People News. Till next time. Bye, y'all.